What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Pretend, nobody say anything, but pretend like we're doing this for the first time. We're talking with the Boondock Echo dev team. They're going to talk about their fun project that they've been working on. We talked about it in the past, but we want to hear from the experts, the people that are actually working on it. So we're going to cover what this system does, kind of their roadmap for the future, where they're at now, and what kind of novel, interesting things they've been able to cook up and those in the community. Make sure you got your questions ready because we'll be talking to you live. So enjoy the memes. We'll get started real soon. All right, in the sake of time, we'll just hurry along through the memes. So I won't say exactly what the problem was, but I think I found the problem. We started playing Helldivers 2, and my youngest had my Steam Deck in my room playing Helldivers. So unfortunately, I had to stop him spreading democracy for Super Earth for us to have this live stream. But it looks solid, so you guys give me a thumbs up in the chat if we're all good. And thanks a lot for coming on out. By the way, there was a comment about the POTA rescue. I heard that there was someone in Death Valley. I think they were on 10 meters. If you want to talk about that, make sure to join us on the after chat. We're going to go through a lot of that because it was a really interesting story, and hopefully some of you have some interesting details. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. We really do appreciate you taking the time. Moving things along because we got a lot to cover. Go check out hamtactical.com. We have links for all of the things we're going to talk about tonight in the video description, so check that out. But we got a couple of new shirts, like our Ham Radio Crash Course Movie Club shirt. If you've been following along on the podcast, you know that we've been doing preparedness, disaster, and amateur radio related, not necessarily all in one movie, video reviews, and we've been having a lot of fun with that, Leia and I, talking about interesting things. Now, there is another link in there, and I'm doing a thing. I made a poll. This is over on Google Forms. And the question is, do we have a problem with intentional interference, not international, intentional interference and bad actors on the air? So this is a survey. If you're so inclined, you can go ahead and take this survey. The link is in the video description. I'm going to be using details from it in future videos. I won't be using any private information, though. So, yeah, just consider helping out the Ham Radio Crash Course with the videos that we're going to be doing. So next, all right. Again, links are in the description for the Boondock Echo. I think you guys already know about it, but I knew that I needed better information from smart people, and so thankfully we have 3 smart people in the room. Starting at the upper left is Jesse. Next to him is Mark, and then there in the upside-down pyramid top there is KC. How are you guys doing tonight? What's going on?
Good. We are fantastic, and thank you so much for having us on. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that this isn't the whole team. This is the entire team that is awake in these time zones. There's another 3, hopefully soon to be 4 people that won't wake up at least for another 2 hours. So this is part of the team, but KC, you want to mention Suraj Nandini? You're muted, buddy.
And I should say that's correct me if I'm wrong, Kauslesh or Kauslesh? We call him KC, but I got the full name there, so I wanted to make sure that people weren't confused. So how you doing, KC?
You got it right. I'm doing well, Josh, and thank you for having us. And just a interesting story. I was known as KC all my professional life because it was easy. My to an extent, my stepson, he calls me Casey, and my little one also calls me Casey. And it's interesting that I am known by Casey more than my real name. But I have a call sign now. I should just be KD9BFU.
There you go. And so we got call signs for all of them. So these are hams talking about their ham project. But go ahead, Mark.
Real quick, Nandini, Suraj, you want to mention them real quick, buddy?
Sure. So we have 3 programmers, Nandini, Suraj, and Nimishka. All 3 are very young programmers and very enthusiastic. And interestingly, although being in India, they know a lot about amateur ham radio, and they are also exploring how they can get involved in India.
Mm-hmm. I love
So
it.
anyhow, they're not here. I just wanted to mention them. So thank you for that opportunity. But yeah, we're here to talk Boondock Echo. For anybody who might not know what a Boondock Echo is, it's a device we invented, and it's at its very basic level an internet-backed record and playback device. So you hook this up to any radio. It could be a two-way handheld. It could be an HF radio, and it will capture the audio, record and save it for you. It'll denoise, transcribe. We can translate to like 20 or 30 different languages. We can do all sorts of neat features. We can have these things send you text messages, email you when certain words are said. So it really takes amateur radio to the next level, or even commercial radio. That being said, you ready for the history, or where would you like to go, Josh?
Well, yeah, I think we give everybody kind of an idea of what it came from, where we're at, and then we'll dive into the cool use cases you guys have cooked up.
Cool.
That's
so
what people want to hear, I think.
That's what people want to hear. So back in 2014, I first had the idea for this, but it was way too complicated, and there was no way I was ever going to even design or build it. And I kind of let it die. I think it was about 2020 that there was a fire in the area, and I'm net control for our local fire watch, and I was trying to monitor like 8 different frequencies. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to do that, but it's impossible. When you get all these messages coming in at once, you just can't keep track of everything.
Right.
So what do? Well, the first thing, maybe you hook up a recorder, but then there's no playback. It's just a big mess. So that's when I came up with the idea for the Boondock Echo. And initially, the plan was emergency use. You hook up one of these to every radio, every frequency that you're monitoring. And if you miss a message, you just go back and you hit forward and next, and it can do that. But I met KC, and KC is a much, much better programmer than I am. So he came up with these things like, well, why don't we just connect it to the internet? In addition to doing that, we can do all these fancy features. And every time we meet, he's installed something new on the firmware. And the meeting ends with the firmware is full. There's nothing more I can do. And then the next week it starts, I found a way to do more. And then the meeting ends. There's nothing more we can do. And then the next week, I found a way to do more. He's crazy like that, Josh. He just teases me. It's infuriating.
I don't know any software developers that are like that can't figure out how to juice more out of the memory that you have available or the hardware. But yeah, I hear what you're throwing down. So, okay. I like the lineage of that. So just the back and forth, almost a simple recorder style. And you went kind of, I don't know. There's really nothing like this that's out there. You've got it full, both an offline capable device, an online capable device. There was a question in the chat: how does this use AI? Somebody else say, will this deal with background noise? Which I didn't even know about that. I mean, is that a thing that it does too?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So to start with the background noise, because that's the one I remember first. Yes. The OpenAI's Whisper model does have something that can take care of a lot of background noise to eliminate that for you, which is fantastic. What were the other questions?
So the offline mode is where you're just no network connection, right? Which we're going to talk about later in the show, so we don't need to give up too much of the lightning here. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but absolutely, the offline mode is fantastic, and we're still working on it, by the way, because everything is a balance. We all have full-time jobs, and we're doing this kind of in our spare time. We'd like to go full-time, but you need money for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ultimate goal is to have each one of these things be able, so you could connect, let's say you've got 8 of these, that you could sit there with a laptop and bring in the 8 streams. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't have internet, you can sit there and you can still pull your messages and get everything sequentially. And just because I know people are always worried about cost, like, well, how much does all this cost? It's like, well, that's not part of the online services that we charge for. That's all free. So you can do a lot with just the device. You can just do a lot more once you start incorporating AI. So how do we use AI? Well,
denoising.
Yeah. translating. We have one customer who runs a factory, and all of the people that are working in the factory have radios on them, but not everybody has English as a first language. Some of them barely have English as a second language. So what do? Well, you say whatever you want to say in Vietnamese, we translate it for you.
Oh.
We transcribe it and let the front office be able to communicate and keep track of, line down events, man down events, all that sort of thing. So there's really quite a bit of features for the hams out there. And we have this enabled on our development server, but not the main server yet. If you want to have a conversation with somebody in, China in Mandarin, we can do that. So there's a lot of features with the AI. Another one that is really, I think, the most popular feature is the auto notifications. So you set keywords in your call sign, or you set, if you're monitoring a police scanner, you set shots fired or whatever. And as soon as we detect that, 5 seconds later, you've got an email, you've got an SMS message.
Yeah. In fact, let me dive in really quickly, because that's exactly has been my use case. I have it connected to my SDS200 on a discone antenna, and it's connected to my Wi-Fi, and the unit will take all the audio coming in from the scanner. Now, there is a web portal that you use that it will upload the audio to, so that you can get to it and you could play back the audio if you want to do that. But the cool part is, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong here, if I'm stepping out of the area. The transcribing is the AI portion of it, I guess, where it's taking the audio, running it through an AI transcribing, and it will upload it to the website. So you can both have the text, the audio, and you can key off of that with things like if this, then that. It will email you for notifications. It'll do basically a wealth of things, right? So for hams, the idea is put it on whatever frequency you care about that you may not have enough time to monitor all the time, like your repeater, whatever. And then you've got a really good backup of anything that has gone on that frequency, right? Would that be a good way of saying it?
All of that is 100% correct, sir. Excellent way of saying it.
Okay, I'm glad I was here for a reason, not just to bring you all together and talk. But so I think we've got a demonstration, and that might be the best way to do this. And I think Casey has that demonstration. So Casey, do you want to give that a shot here?
Sure. And I'll be honest, Josh, I do have slides in case
That's
something
fine.
goes wrong.
No problem. I trust you.
So, yeah. So let me give a background. What do I have right now? So essentially, I have a Boondock Echo device right here. It's more like a this is more like a dev version. It looks like slightly different than what
you got that
Mark just
blinged
showed.
out Boondock is what you got, right?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Then I have a simple Baofeng radio. This is a GMRS, but it would connect anything with the K-type connector. I don't want to call it Baofeng connector.
Call it a Kenwood connector.
I have this set up. Kenwood connector, right? So then I have the second radio right here, and let me do this. So my Boondock Echo is ready, and I'm going to transmit on this one. It has a dummy load, so we don't have to worry about that. And let's do that. And I will also share my screen if you allow me, Josh.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, let me do that.
Oh, yeah, because we can see this live update. Yeah, that's great. All right, excellent.
Okay, so now you can see my screen and starting Boondock Echo because I just started it. So you can see the live activity, what my dock is doing right now. And then I will transmit a message. This is KD9VFU. Time is 7:21 p.m. and I'm on HRCC live podcast.
All right. I'm excited, Casey.
So we're watching that activity window in the upper right-hand corner.
So while people are...
All right. Maybe I just forgot to turn on the other radio.
There you go.
There you go.
We're doing it live.
Live demos.
Okay. Okay.
While you do that,
So
super chat came in from Jason. It's early hours in UK. Cheers to you all. I'll 73 from 2E1HKO. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Casey.
all right. Let me do it once more.
Power on. Time.
This
Fingers
is
crossed, buddy.
KD9B. This is KD9BFU, and time is 7:22 p.m. I'm on HRCC live podcast. So essentially, what Boondock Echo, it started recording, it stopped recording, and you can see that recording ended due to silence. So it recorded like 10 seconds, and you can see that it shows me new message right here.
Yeah.
And you will see that within a few seconds, the screen will refresh. And if it doesn't, let me just refresh my screen so it's faster for everyone. So I have, this is KD9BFU showing the time, and it did not get like, maybe
AI
didn't
doesn't
pick
know
up
what
the last
HRCC is.
part.
It's okay. AI doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Right. Yeah. And
Not yet.
so I got this. Now let me just quickly show. So I can download this audio file. I can favorite this. I can transmit it back. So that's the second part. On the radio that is connected to my Boondock right now, I can transmit this audio and it will be transmitted, and I can play on the dock itself. And I'll just show a quick slides because it'll be more fun to have more conversation, wherein I have some other things to talk about. What else this Boondock will be doing? All right, let me show here. All right, so basically we saw that it made a recording, and
Go into presentation mode if you
the
can. You got a lot of other
keyword
stuff on the
alert.
screen. If you can go to presentation mode, that would help.
All right, and hold on. So I want to make it a window, so I do not. Okay,
Oh, that's beautiful.
this should be
Thank you.
better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just saw that we got a message, and I did this earlier. It said HRCC vodcast. Now it's interesting. This is how you get notification on your email. You get an alert. Now I put an alert on HRCC, so I get an alert with an audio file, and it takes like 10 to 15 seconds to get this. And yeah, so you have the audio file, and you also have the transcription within the email.
That's awesome. Yeah. So this is what I've been using it for. Is my wife is very interested in the local emergency communication scene, so that's why I have the SDS 200. But unfortunately, I'd love her to hang out in my shack all day with me, but she has other things to do with her life. So that's where the scanner is. But there are keywords that she said, hey, if any of these keywords come up, I want to be notified of them. And so the Boondock Echo emails her every time one of those keywords goes up. She can download the file or do whatever she wants with it, or just take the transcripts and post it. And that's how kind of she's been using it, which is really, really cool. But I think you go even further than that, don't you, Casey?
Yes, we do. So I want to show the next part. So like for those who are aware of IFTTT, it's a if this then that service.
Mm-hmm.
You can, all these events will be captured by IFTTT, and I will share my screen once more to show you some of that. What you can do with IFTTT, it's pretty phenomenal what all you can achieve. And if I share my screen again. So just a quick version. IFTTT lets you capture triggers and take some action. So how we can use Boondock is I can create a new trigger. I call it if. So Boondock Echo.
It's in the system, guys.
Boondock Echo can capture your alert or even a message. You can put an IFTTT on each and every message you get. So I can do this. It lets me pick the dock. I have multiple docks here. So I will pick the white dock here. create. I have white and black docs on my desk. Then you can log it to Google Sheets. You can trigger an email. You can trigger notification. You can even turn on a light in your house if you want using Philips Hue integration. So there are a lot of things you can do, and I will quickly show you things you can do with Boondock itself. So you can trigger Boondock Echo to transmit an audio. It will transmit an audio file, play an audio, play text. You can pass a text message to Boondock Echo, and it will transcribe it. It will create text to voice. You can pick male or female character. You can even pick an English, like any language, and then the system will take your text. For example, here, like, I want to say this is an emergency meeting calling all hams. So you can use this to trigger Boondock Echo to transmit a certain message at a certain time, or it could be triggered on any event that you want to program.
So to give you a couple examples of where this might be useful, in California, we have earthquakes, and the last couple of years, we've got an earthquake early warning system. You could potentially say, if one of those earthquake triggers comes through, that you want to transmit on all dock packs to the local repeater or whatever, earthquake, earthquake, earthquake. It can do that. It can do it right now.
So you could have this connected at the repeater site, hypothetically.
Absolutely. You could have this doing repeater identification.
Oh, yeah. You could do that way more than some of the baseline repeater hardware.
Yeah. And then the other thing, too, is you can link as many docks together as you want. We call them dock packs. So you're not limited to one frequency anymore. If you've got GMRS and you've got multiple frequencies out there, you can hit them all at once. No problem.
How do you do that? With different devices or? So
you would have one dock pack, one Boondock Echo per radio. Each radio's on a different frequency.
Right. Okay.
And then when we link it into the dock packs, we'll have to show it to you, but it's, for lack of a better word, it's like having one. You just send whatever it is to the one dock pack, and then everything's captured underneath that dock pack.
Oh, okay.
And you can do it. The reason we don't show this off too much is we are desperately low on these right now. We are in the process of making more, and we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
But, there's 20, and those 20 are out in the field. Like KC, I think, might have a couple. I've got one Boondock Echo. Jesse has one Boondock Echo. You've got one. I mean, nobody's rocking with two right now except the devs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So to extend on what Mark was saying, what you see on my screen right now, I have 3 Boondock Echoes. Now, these could be at any location. These could be one in California, one in Chicago, and I can pick which will receive and which will transmit, which will play back. That means an audio received in Lombard will be automatically played back on White Dock, which could be sitting in California. And if I pick transmit, that means every time I transmit, it'll get only transmitted by this particular dock. It could be received in two different docks, but it will transmit only on this one. So this lets you create kind of linked boondocks through the internet, and you can actually use it to repeat a message in one city to another city. Does it make sense? Or
yeah, it makes sense. And actually, the interesting point there, too, is if you have like a FCC business license and you had like 3 frequencies, you could put a boondock on every one of those frequencies, and you could leverage these capabilities with that. That's really handy, I think.
And Josh, I want to mention one of our commercial client. They want to use Boondock on 3 different frequencies: production line, and their manufacturing line, and their security line. They want to use Boondock to transmit these messages. It could be an emergency meeting, it could be a fire drill. So they can use the dock pack concept to transmit a message to all the docks.
Here's a question. If I had, so let's say I had a radio on the frequency of my local radio connected to a boondock, and then I had two other packs or other boondocks in other locations connected to other radios. Could I hypothetically have a pre-canned emergency message, or like a pre-canned message that if I gave a word like slinky, if I said slinky and it picked up, oh, Josh, someone said slinky on that frequency, then it would send that message out to the other boondock packs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably an
Oh.
IFTTT application
Right.
there.
Yeah. So, oh boy, so that could be, yeah, there's all kinds of things you could do with that then. Boy, it just keeps getting better. Like the first time I talked about it, like you talked to me the last time. Well, when I did the video, it was already really helpful from what my wife needed, but now this, if this, then that, and this other stuff that you guys are doing, that kind of opens the doors for a bunch of other options, which is really, really cool. Casey, is that your example, or do you have more? I don't want to cut you off if it's
No. I love the conversation, and
yeah, this is great.
I think the power of getting it on internet, and you can do a lot of things, and you can think of use cases which you could not think about before because you didn't have a connected radio technology.
Mm-hmm. And Cheyenne Morris, you were Ribbit was one of them. Ribbit, that makes Ribbit actually kind of a useful thing. Or rattlegram, you could rattlegram some other stuff too, which would be really, really cool. Now, of course, internet connected, right? We're talking about kind of heavy internet usage, but it works without the internet too. This might be a good segue time to offline. So I have not experimented with the offline. You guys were kind of telling me about this in one of the last calls we had. Catch everybody up on what the offline, how it all works, what you can do with it, and then I guess how does it all connect back to the mothership, if you will, at some later time.
Sure. So offline mode is you don't have to have internet. Yes, you can have internet, and internet provides a bunch of things like the SMS notifications, IFTTT. You have to have internet for those. But if all you want to do is just record audio, you can take this thing out, you leave it in offline mode so it isn't trying to connect to Wi-Fi, and it will sit there and it will record for days. Like I forget the number, but it's like a week and a day, like 8 days worth of audio that it can record. And if you've got kind of a quiet channel, that could end up being months of audio that it can record. And then you can browse it on the device. It will create its own little ad hoc network that you can connect to with your phone or your computer. And you'll see a screen that looks similar to what we just showed you, just minus transcriptions. Then when you're done, you come back home, you connect it back to Wi-Fi, it'll upload everything, and off you go.
By chance, Casey, can you pull up the offline view?
This is it.
This is it. Okay, good. Perfect. I was going to do that. I didn't have enough time.
He's
walk
sharing
through that
it
a
right
little bit.
now.
So this is when it takes power over USB, and then you can feed any audio source into it, and it just stores. Well, it's saying it's got 28 gigs, right, of data. At this version you have, the card you've got in there.
And I think we had said before, 260 hours is the number that I remember, Mark.
That sounds right.
Could I go?
I couldn't remember.
Could I go crazy and add like some super big micro SD card to this, or is there a limit?
No. Unfortunately, the ESP32 has a limit. We believe it's 32 gigabytes. Is that correct, Casey? You're muted, my friend. But yes, the card just can't, it can't access extra memory. So you can put a bigger card in, it won't do you any good, but that's still a ton of audio, Josh.
Oh yeah. No, it's a ridiculous amount of audio.
Yeah.
And it will cycle through auto deleting the oldest audio files you have. And so you won't lose new audio that is coming in. But yeah, that's a limit with the ESP32. And I'm sure over the time, this limit will be gone with better hardware or something.
Sure.
But
I think it's a FAT 32 limit, I think.
Yeah.
The file format.
That's probably what it is. That's not a complaint. It's more of just an understanding so that people don't try and shove a 256 gig card into it and be like, well, I don't want to get 32 gigs. That's not that's just a limitation of the hardware that you're working with. But even then, for audio, it's not a problem, really.
Yeah, so here we are at the inbox. Casey's brought it up, and here you can see that there's recordings for yesterday and today.
Mm-hmm.
And when you click on them, it does go slow. It is a microcontroller that's running this web page and everything, so it's not the fastest thing around.
Sure.
But you can still do all the things. You can still play your messages. You can still download them. You can still transmit and save all this fun stuff. You just don't get your transcriptions and you don't get your notifications.
Right. So the AI aspect, the if then this that leveraging, all that is when it gets to the mothership, if you will, and you've got internet connection. But you've got everything else pretty much at your fingertips if you needed that. And a big thank you to Mitchell Pilot for the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy.
And then I see in a contact there from Victor Echo 5, Sierra Oscar Romeo, pair it with the Raspberry Pi to pull the data files off the device if you really want to make an audio archiver. Yes, you can do that. In fact, at some point to complete our emergency response thing, we will have something that we will write some scripts that do that for you and bring that all onto a device, another device. So yeah, you could absolutely do that.
And I want to add that we have designed Boondock Echo to be kind of open and you can hack it. And we have a complete API. You can access your micro SD card through the browser. There are API calls. You can collect all the files that were recorded and you can pull those files as well. If you know how to write a simple script, you can do that. And as you can see in this screen, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about is the repeater mode, Josh.
Oh yeah.
This is the latest thing which happened is if you set the repeater mode, Boondock Echo will record an audio and it will transmit it back once the transmission ends. Mark, you want to talk about some use cases on this?
It's a simplex repeater too now? Or
yes.
Yes.
I'm going to use this on something very special coming up that I'll tell you guys about offline. I already have a use case for this. This is fantastic.
We can do a lot more with the simplex repeater, but right now it's just message in, message out is all that's released.
Sure.
We don't want to step on the toes of another device too harshly. There is another simplex repeater out there. We could emulate all of that. I believe we're going to choose not to.
Okay.
Because it's kind of jacked up to just take their idea, copy it, and resell it. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that.
Okay. But hear me out.
Sure.
Simplex repeater, right? So I message in, and I say a keyword or phrase, and will it transmit out audio a message that I want it to say?
So hypothetically, you can do that with IFTTT. You set up your keywords, and then it will trigger that, and it will trigger an alert, and IFTTT will tell the Boondock to transmit that message. So you can do that.
Of course, IFTTT would be needed. This is not an offline mode thing, of course. Yeah.
No,
okay.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you're offline, pretty much all you can do is message in, message out, because we don't have the smart features in the box. They're in the cloud.
Right.
But yeah, you can do that. You can do quite a bit of stuff.
This is an easy one. We should just slam dunk this right now. Can I connect this to an HF rig?
Sure. So these are version 2 of the Boondock Echo. People are going to be getting version 3. So version 2 has a TRRS that you can get to just receive. But version 3, which is what everybody's going to get, this cord is gone. And it's going to have another TRRS that's compatible with the DigiRig standard. So if you can plug your radio into a DigiRig or a 3.5 millimeter audio, you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's the output? Is that the output?
Sorry, well, there's two jacks. There's going to be a TRRS jack, which will be audio in, audio out, PTT, and then it'll still have that other jack that everyone uses for like their scanner and stuff. So anything that's just straight audio in, it's like a TS connection. So you'd use the top jack for just like audio stuff, the bottom jack for like a regular full radio. And we still will have, because the original intent was, Baofangs, and we had the Kenwood jack and everything, we're still going to include a DigiRig style Kenwood connector with the docks that are shipping. It's just now it's removable.
Perfect. I mean, why limit yourself, right? Why limit yourself to that connector when you can tip it in your sleeve and go nuts? Yeah.
And Josh, I've already tested it on a Bafang, and I've tested it on any phone. These are all digital cables,
Right.
and I also tested it on FT5D with all with the digital cables.
So you're good.
So yeah, short answer is pretty much you can connect any radio, and if you have the time and energy, you can hack your own cable if it's a radio which is like which you cannot find a cable for.
Okay.
Now might be a decent time. I see in the chat people are asking, can you buy these now? So maybe share the link to the crowd supply, and then we'll give you a little bit of a timeline.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and start talking, because I'm fighting my website for some reason right now. So crowd
Of course.
supply.
So
And
are
I'll
these
pull it up.
available for ordering now? Absolutely they are. They're at crowdsupply.com/Boondock Technologies/Boondock Echo. It's kind of a pre-order stage. So we collected everybody's money. It's great. We went to Vegas, had a great time.
Don't say that.
We took everybody's money and
off the ground. I'm just kidding.
We ordered another revision. Jesse wasn't happy with the attenuator circuit, so he wanted that. That new revision is done, except they put the wrong switches on, and Jesse said no. And he sent it back to him and
I
said,
like it, Jesse.
And then, if not, fiber across the eyes, because man, he looks sweet and kind, but he's just violence incarnate.
I like
No,
the good
Jesse's
engineering principles there, Jesse. Stay strong, bud.
Yeah. So when we get that back, we're going to test the board. If we like that, and if everything's good, then the next step is we order a bunch of those from China. We say, we want 250. But first, before you send us 250, I want you to send me 5. And I want to confirm that these look good and they act and everything's good. And then once they send us those and we say, yes, it's all good, then we order the rest. They come in. We're still deciding how much testing we're going to do versus having the factory do. And we send them off to Mouser and they send them to you. So we're getting close, but it's still 2-3 months out.
Yep.
Is what it's looking at.
Question in the chat: how much? About $160? Is that the current pricing model?
I think that's what it's at.
Yeah, I just pulled it up on the website, so I'm assuming that's accurate.
Yeah, 160 plus tax. We'd like it to be cheaper, but there's a lot of costs going through crowd supply, which is fine. Everybody's got to make a buck, and they were hugely helpful to us in getting all of this going and giving advice. So we're fine with it. We do believe that future versions, which are well over a year out at this point, we can do cheaper, but not this one.
So Ron Clark asked an interesting question. What about radios that have a built-in sound card? So the USB port is strictly for power. It's not a data port. You couldn't pass serial through it. So you still need to give it the audio. Yeah,
we can't do anything with the sound card, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This isn't a computer.
Right.
Yeah, this is just an FYI. This is not like a little computer. This is a microcontroller, and it's limited. You can't do everything that you can do.
Anything with an audio out, you can hook to it though. So there's probably use cases that are not radios that we don't even. Yeah. You might have to make your own cable, but there's that TS jack, which is audio only, and then TRRS jack for radios. So
2 other quick questions. People said, is this open source? Can I load my own firmware? It is. We've got a GitHub. We might have to push to it, but the goal is to make this thing open source. So if you want to run your own server, you can. I saw somebody say, $25 a month might be out of my price range. Totally get it. Our deal is our server is $500 a month-ish. Right now we've got 20 docks out. So that means each dock costs us $25 a month to run. Right? Mm-hmm. If we get more people on the server, the prices can go down. Mm-hmm. But if it's too much for you, I totally get it. You're more than welcome to take the software. At some point, we're going to get some people with some skills that can, put this on a Raspberry Pi or Dockerize it or whatever the technology is. You run your own thing. If the monthly price is too much for you, just go for it. That's fine. But if you're using our stuff, it costs us money. We have to charge you money. That's just the way the world works.
I think
And
it's
it's-
really sweet though that you guys are doing open source though for this. That's amazing. So Jesse, go
And
ahead. You were gonna say
it's,
something.
I was just going to say, it's not only the hardware or not only the firmware that's open source, the server software is. So it's
Yeah.
not like you have to redesign the server from scratch if you wanted to run
That's
your
amazing.
own. And the hardware is. So if the cost is too much for you to buy it, you can buy the dev board and make your own cables or attenuation circuit and either get on our servers with it or do your own thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
If, by the way, if all you want to do is receive, if you never want to transmit, you can just do it with the dev board and an attenuation cable. No problem.
That's awesome. I want a quick shout out to the HRCC VE team. They had 3 technicians pass tonight, so that's amazing.
What?
Congratulations. Yeah, the VE team is just
congratulations.
amazing with the online testing. They're killing it out there, so that's amazing. Man, there another one of those hours that's going to fly by for us because there's so much we can talk about. There's 2 things I want to hit. I think I want to get to pro tips. Like if you guys got like a hot tip you want to mention to people, we're going to take questions. By the way, if you're interested in anything we didn't already hit, make sure you put the word question or at Ham Radio Crash Course in the YouTube chat so I see it. That works with the other platforms as well, so that I'll see it and make sure that I get priority to you. Now, Mark hinted at something. Maybe he let the cat out of the bag a little too early here, but there's potentially an SMS capability to this as well. Is that what? Could you talk about that?
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have KC talk about it.
All right.
Sure. So as of today, we have already tested text messaging capability. How it works is you put your phone number and it'll send you a verification number because we don't want somebody to put your number and you start receiving messages for no reason. So it'll let you verify your number with a one-time password. Then you can start getting notifications. In US, you have to follow a process wherein we register the number, we register the company. So we are just going through the legal paperwork. And by the time we launch, we'll have the text messaging service live as well.
And so this is primarily for notification, right? Is that kind of the idea behind it? It's not the ham radio version of, hey, I've been trying to contact you about your 7610's extended warranty, right? This is this is just for notifying you of something that came into your Boondock.
Yeah, like it could be you can set up an alert on something. Like one of our beta tester, he had put addresses of the family members, and now whenever that hits, he get notified. If it could be listening to a scanner, whenever that address is hit, he gets notified. So that could be a use case to receive on your text message on your phone. You can pick which alerts will go to your will be sent to your phone as a text message.
Right.
So that lets you trigger that event as well.
Because you could have a completely different alert set, right, just for your phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you can put all the things in there that you wanted. Yeah, because I don't know if everybody understands that. I'm gonna show this for a second here. What's the best way to do this? Let's go back here. So this is mine, and under monitor, you go to manage, and then you can create just any alerts you want. And so you're saying you could connect this to a cell phone, an SMS, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty slick. I like that. I mean, I love the email. I think the email's a little bit more portable, but for the SMS folks, that's great. Okay. Pro tips. You guys got any like hot tips or interesting things that you've stumbled upon that you want to let people know about that you can do with this that you were either surprised by or it's like the best way to do it? What would you say?
I can start with maybe we can just go in a circle.
Sure.
But I've got a few. One of our guys, Dan Maloney's one of our beta testers. He's been fabulous. He hooked this up to a scanner and is using it to monitor the local fire EMS frequencies. And what he's looking for is when his father's retirement home address pops up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jesse, do you want to tell your Target story?
Oh, yeah. So our local Target, it had a gas leak like a month prior, and like Yeah, it was on like the scanner pages on Facebook and etc. And then I was at Target one day, and a fire truck just rolled on by with its lights on, and I'm like, before I go in the store, let me check what's up. And I went into my Boondock because I have one hooked to my scanner, and I saw the message that it said someone had a stroke, and that's what they were responding to. And I'm like, okay, it's safe for me to go in the store, not another gas problem. So I thought that was an interesting case. I guess it's just getting a scanner online. It's another scanner one, but it was helpful to me in that aspect.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Casey, do
Cool.
you have one ready, or would you like me to give another?
Sure. So this is out of my own need. I enjoy listening to local net, which happens between 12 to 1. They call it lunch bunch. And a lot of folks from my neighborhood, they just check in and they talk. They will have some funny question about the weather or the politics, or whatever is going on. I enjoy joining that, talking to folks around me. 20 to 30 people would check in every day. But when I'm at office, I cannot listen to it. So I have my Boondock. One of my dogs is hooked just to listen to that. And when I come back, then I look at it, what's going on, what are people talking about. These are all a local repeater near me, so I can listen to that. That also brought us into an idea which is coming up in the future release, is more, think of it more like a daily digest. So if you are listening to a repeater, it will use machine learning and AI to see what was captured in the day and what is useful, and it will make a quick summary, and you get a one email with what interesting is happening. You can pick what you care about. Do you care about uh, like swap and shop deals, or you are looking for a certain radio? You can pick what you are interested in, and it will give you a daily digest.
I don't want to hear about George complaining them dang kids are on the lawn again. So omit that from the Daily Digest kind of thing. That's really interesting. Yeah.
So one of our beta testers who's been absolutely fabulous, and we can thank most of the offline features to him. His name's Gabe Emerson. He runs the Save It for Parts YouTube channel. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, go
Great
do it
channel,
now.
great channel.
I love Gabe.
Yeah.
He is as nice and genuine off screen as he is on. Anyways, he was out in Death Valley somewhere, and somebody in his group lost a radio, fell out of their pack, whatever. Now, I imagine they were using Baofeng's, but I've got like an ID52, and if I lost that, I would be a sad boy. Anyways, somebody picked up the radio, put a call out, says, hey, I've got your radio. I'm leaving it at the ranger station. Gabe goes to his Boondock Echo, plays his messages. Here's where his radio's at, hops over and grabs it.
Slick.
This is just in beta, right? This is still in beta.
Slick. That's slick.
There's so much cool stuff that's going to happen.
It's interesting if you think about it. Like, one of the things we don't have, and I'm a big advocate for making information sticky, something that like is accessible in different platforms and movable, changeable, whatever, accessible to different systems. That's kind of what you're doing here, is that you've created something that makes over-the-air RF sticky. And then how you use it and it's in its post-transmitted state is beyond just what came out of the speaker at that point, right? So if this then that, the AI transcripts, some of the other features that you're going to bake into this as part of the roadmap here is really impressive stuff. I'm really excited by it. So this is really, really cool. We have a couple of questions, and I've been writing some questions down. So I'm going to go down the list of things. And you tell me if this is something that's kind of on the horizon.
Okay.
Somebody asked decode DTMF.
Yes, that's on the roadmap.
POCSAG.
Post Office Code Standard Address
So like
Group.
pagers.
It's
POCSAG
doable.
Pagers.
It's doable, but we would need enough people who wanted that to justify the development.
Sure. APRS.
It's doable.
Sure.
Not on the roadmap at this point. We would have to figure out how many people wanted it and
Right.
what we could add to APRS. Because really, from my perspective, that's more of a, well, no, there's stations ID. If we had enough people doing it, it's possible.
Yeah, because if I, for instance, hypothetical, let's say I was on a hike and I sent an APRS beacon. What if that beacon, in combination with if this then that, sent a text message to my wife saying I'm at such and such location.
Right, but can't you do that with APRS now with like APRS.fi? I don't know.
You
Yeah,
could, I guess. You could.
Mhm.
technically possible, but
I'm sure somebody
it's-
has a more ingenious way to do this. Keep in mind, guys, everybody, that these folks and the three developers that were mentioned at the start of the show, they're baking this into their platform, right? This is what you're potentially getting if you're supporting the efforts that they're doing, right? So these are all things that are based off of. Are you guys into Jira? Are you guys agile guys? How you doing development work down, burn down?
GitHub.
GitHub.
We are
So GitHub requests, and then people vote for what they think is the best. I imagine you're going to have to pick up something like that in the future, right? Because people are going to start rating the things that they think are the most important, right?
We can
Um,
add that. Discord
Yeah.
is the best place for feature requests right now. If you guys want to join our Discord, it's very quiet because, again, it's just beta testers. And
Mhm.
most of the beta testers would rather DM us than use Discord, which is fine. But it'll pick up. There's a spot for feature requests. You guys can put them there, and we will find a way to let you vote for what you want.
all my agile peeps are announcing themselves. Let's put some Jira stories in the backlog. All right, there. All right, calm down.
I've thought about starting a Jira for us, but again, it goes to time. You know, it's where we've got limited time where we're
don't
going
you
to use it.
understand? All the advocates will tell you you make up the time on the back end. That's how Jira works. You spend all that time in the front end, and then life just becomes easy. It's easy. It's just you gotta drink the flavor aid to Jira.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
You gotta listen to the Scrum Master and the product leads.
Just as an FYI, in my past job, I was project manager for a battery company. It's actually a little higher than that. I was just below the CEO. I set up Jira. We used it. I liked it. I never did find that it saved me time because I was the only one writing and reading anything there. Nobody else did. But I liked the organization it provided. So for you lovers out there,
Yeah.
you know, you do you.
I won't go into a rant. I'll save that for the after chat. By the way, guys, we're going to head out of here in a little bit. We started a little bit late, so we'll maybe go a little bit over the hour. Join us on the after chat. It's on Discord. The link is in the description for the Ham Radio Crash Course Discord. We also have the Boondock Echo Discord. Make sure you avail yourselves of that. If you look at the top of the description, all the links that we've been showing are all there for Boondock Echo. So definitely go check that out. But as you scroll down, there'll be a HRCC Discord link. Join our Discord, then go to hashtag live-stream / and the other one is hashtag live-stream / after chat. That's the voice chat. It's voice and text, and I'll tell you my trials and tribulations with Agile. I generally like it, though, but I've used many things that have called many different names that do very much the same thing. So did we cover all the hot takes or the top tips? I think we got a couple more questions to go through. But
Well, let's do some questions. But, you know, there have been, like I said, just some really interesting use cases so far. One of the things that I thought of, I think it was on your channel a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about creating logs, Cabrillo logs, right?
Yes.
That should totally be possible. So if you're out there contesting, you're just sitting there with your radio and talking and letting Boondock do all the work. There's no reason we can't accomplish that too.
And to the other point, Josh, APRS, POXAC, FT8, VARA FM, we do have a lot of digital modes in our thoughts. Like, you know, it could be as simple as, can we decode a Morse code? And that Morse code could mean something to your IFTTT.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, digital modes is coming. But as you can imagine, we are keeping everything open source. So we are trying to look at open source options for everything. And if something is open, we are able to integrate that. And digital modes will be great as we start implementing it.
And they'll be done mostly at this point on the website of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Josh, we're going to give one of these away to your audience.
Okay.
But wait, there's more.
Okay.
I'm feeling generous tonight. I'm also going to give 3 months of premium server usage as well.
Excellent. All right. So basically what we do is pick a word. I guess we should just use Boondock, right?
No, there's no fun in that.
Okay, what kind of word would you like? You get to pick. You guys get to pick.
Shenanigans with
Oh,
an S.
Jesus.
I let the power go to my head very quickly, Josh. You should never give me any authority at all.
You're making me spell shenanigans. Okay.
So here's the reason I picked shenanigans, right?
You guys are already spelling it wrong. That's shenanigans. I don't know her, but I heard you should stay away from
Is
her.
this gonna cause too much trouble? Is shenanigans gonna cause?
I don't know. It seems like we've already got some problem. People are we haven't even started collecting the things yet, guys. So just hold on. We don't have very few people.
Maybe we better just do Boondock because people aren't spelling it right at all. At all. It's all over the place. We can't sort that if you're all spelling different things.
I've got a bot that does it, and if you don't spell it right, it's not on the list. So Boondock,
Okay,
all
Boondock.
one word, all one
but
word.
wait until he opens the drawing. Okay, so here's the deal.
Oh, it's open.
We don't have
It's collecting. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have any to give you, right? They're all out.
Right.
Besides, you don't want V2, you want V3, you want the next one.
Right.
And that's what we're going to start manufacturing very soon. So as soon as those come in, we will ship it to you. But it's going to be, this prize, unfortunately, is going to be a couple months out. So I'm sorry about that.
No, it's completely reasonable. I think that's completely reasonable and generous. So thank you for providing that. Now, remember, guys. Yes, there, and we should mention this in case I didn't while all this stuff rolls in. Let me find the website here for pricing. Let me go back to that, and I'll let you guys talk to this, but let me pull this up. You do have a tiered approach, right? So email notifications, remote control automation, transmit. It's when you go up a little bit that you get into IFTTT and all that other stuff, right? And it's basically to cover your costs because you don't have an enrolled base yet that you can start to lower that cost. I don't want to speak for you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
like
okay.
Once we start getting serious numbers of members, we can readjust pricing.
Right.
But right now, like I said, it costs us $25 a user where we're at currently.
Okay.
So we're just trying to not lose money on the situation.
Right.
But the more people that sign up, the more people that join. If we had every 340,000 of your viewers have one, we could give premium services for $5 a month and be profitable.
And
very profitable.
And Josh,
should point
Josh,
out,
I want to
offline
add that
works just fine without any of the tiers. You don't. If you buy one of these, you don't have to be on a tier. You can do offline. Go ahead. Sorry, Casey.
Yeah, sorry. So I wanted to mention, it starts from $5, but there is a free version as well. So you can use the cloud services. There'll be limitation, like I think it is 7 days of recording, and transcription is on demand transcription, and so there's some limitations. You can see all the details, but there is a fully free version you can keep using, like maybe just to transmit a message on your dock remotely. That's always there, a fully free version.
Excellent. Okay. Good clarification point. Thank you for that. Yeah. So, and expect some of this to change. I mean, guys, you heard the story here. I think they've been very open and honest with what they're trying to do. Is that this is almost something that can live or die based off of your support of it and the amount of people supporting it, because then that lowers costs across the board. I think they've been very honest with it's open source, not just for the software that's on the device, but also the server side. I don't know how many people do actually give that stuff away or make that available, so that's kind of insane. And I'll reiterate, all the links are in the description. It's like just past the break there, so go check that out. There are 112 people that have spelled Boondock correctly in the chat. Woo! So we'll roll in a second here. Is there anything else you want to mention? I think we probably blew up all the questions. Let me see if I go back here and get anything. Go for it.
Someone mentioned Hamvention demo. Casey and I are going to be at Hamvention.
Oh, I get to meet you in person then. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you already met Mark, so yeah.
Yeah, I did here locally.
Yeah, and then we do hope to sell these in other spots eventually. HRO, we'll have a conversation with Ham Radio Outlet. We'll have a conversation with some overseas vendors if I can ever get them to make a meeting. They like to schedule them. I'll say that. so we will get these out to other corners of the world, and hopefully this becomes a thing. One way that this can be more successful, like we tell you that it's open source, and you can set up your own server, but you've kind of got to be at this point, you've kind of got to be a software dev to be able to get everything to work, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's not always going to be that way. If we can get community support assisting us and giving us a hand, we could make this closer to a one-button install, one-click install type thing.
Right.
But it's going to take time. We're just a little over a year old. There's still a lot to do. We still have full-time jobs. So we're doing this nights and weekends. We would very much like to go full-time, but we're going to have to go out and find another investor that can help make that happen. So we're on a path. It's a good path. We're not where we want to be too. Somebody asked, is it open source hardware too? It is. Even the dev board that we chose was open source. So,
That's amazing. Kudos to you guys.
Anything that we can do to help you guys do this, we're happy to do. I don't want anybody to not use this technology because they can't afford it. You can run it yourself, or at least you'll be able to soon enough. So yeah, we just think that there's going to be enough people that don't want to mess around and futz with the server software that they'll be more than happy to throw money at us. We believe most of those people are going to be big corporations with manufacturing plants, but we also think we can help the amateur radio community as well.
Here's an interesting one from Jody. He asks a lot of really good questions. Jody asks, have you gone with encrypted comms to the cloud services? How about locally or certs supported?
So
is that like a man in the middle kind of thing? Or if you get someone can get in and access the box? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I think Jody saw the offline mode and he saw the unencrypted offline mode. The microprocessor doesn't have the ability. It can't run a TLS SSL. It's too much, right? Because we're recording. One of the things I forgot to mention is that we've got a circular loop. This thing is always recording the audio input, so that when it does trigger a certain audio level, it is already ready to record. And in fact, it's prefetched a little bit. So we've got both processors on this thing running full time. Asking it to also encrypt and decrypt is just a little too much for the little guy that's in there now. Yeah. So if you're in offline mode, you're not secure, but you're also not uploading.
Also, someone keying off that, someone else did ask about 3-letter agencies getting access to your files. We don't have access to your files, by the way. Like, we don't have access to your inbox and things like that. So that's just something to bring up.
We've engineered a few things. Like, there's an onboard microphone you can use for push to talk that will not upload to the cloud because we didn't want to have to worry about people getting hacked and that sort of thing.
So the box remotely.
Yeah. So somebody else asked, where do we see this thing in 5 years?
Yeah.
Where I'd like to see it in 5 years is, well, in a year, it's going to be much smaller than it is now. Where I'd like to see this in 5 years is a speaker mic with this just built in, including the transcription, just something nice and small, plug it into any radio and, off you go. We'd like the reliability to be up. We are currently in a period of very, very heavy development where we're uploading and changing things nightly. We're putting in features faster than we can test them. So right now we are moving fast and breaking things. But in a month, we are going to transition to a more deliberate development process where everything gets checked out, much slower, much more controlled and safe, because reliability has to be there. And I don't think we're as reliable as we want to be yet, but we're getting there. We're working towards it.
And this is Casey. So if I add a little bit to what Mark is saying, in 5 years, what we would like to do is make money from commercial users so that we can give mostly free services to ham radio, amateur radio community. Keep it open source, and better hardware, more powerful hardware over the time, and keeping it simple and open source at the same time, and uh, supporting as many radios that we can. So it should be like plug and play. You plug it and it just works. Like, there are some people who enjoy fiddling with electronics. Some people just want to plug it in and they want it to work.
Yeah.
That's what we would like to focus on. Uh, uh, just make it work and just see what all we can do on the digital side. That's where we would likely be focusing on.
Any other virtually impossible goals you'd like to add to your plate, Casey, that you haven't already added? I mean, all those things put together is like, oh my goodness. So wow, that's quite a vision. But you've already accomplished so much. So if you were to just give me that elevator speech and not have a product, I'd be like, bro, you've been too deep into the Linux Twitter or wherever you've hit on Reddit, on Linux Reddit. But you have a working product that works really well. And so, I mean, all these little things feel like just incremental steps on the team that you've already built and kind of what you guys have already accomplished. So I'm already like, yeah, okay, let's do this. This is amazing. I love it.
We need to pick a winner, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's actually kind of funny one. How does Casey do this and run the Sunshine Band? Only the olds in the room will understand that joke. So good job.
I've heard this before. Thank you.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
One other quick thing too I wanted to add as a cool feature. And we didn't really demo this very well, but this thing's ability to pull messages out of things that are otherwise completely uncopyable should be a huge benefit to hams that are starting to lose their hearing as well too. And let them get back into the hobby. What we want is to give everything away, which doesn't make any good business sense. So we have to temper that against staying solvent. But as soon as we are, in the black, as they say, the first people that we want to at least give discounts to are, the traditional people, educators. Teachers never make enough money. If we can help them get kids excited about the ham, you better believe we're going to do it. Veterans, retirees, people on fixed income. We don't want to get rich by making others poor. We'd much rather rise the tide together if we can. So we're going to have to figure out how to do all that.
Your comment on educators, I got to get you guys talking to Steve K5ATA at the ARRL Education Institute, because how interesting would that be for the kids? So the kids that get taught amateur radio and all that stuff in class, how interesting would that be that they worked, set up a station, and then that station, it sits offline most hours of the day. What if they had a Boondock connected to that overnight to a repeater, whatever they left the frequency on, or possibly even the ISS flying overhead, and we're able to get that audio and they could replay that audio? That's super useful. Useful. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that.
That is great. And that's just one quick point I want to touch. Josh, you'll be surprised the kind of quality of transcription we have seen, that I listen to the audio, I cannot understand a single word, but the transcription was able to figure out the whole thing. And then I listen to, if I was just listening it to live, I wouldn't know what it is. So that is also a great thing that I've noticed.
Yeah, Mark sent me one that was pretty wild. There's also, you know what? People with hearing disabilities. Let the Boondock decode the audio for you, and you can just read the transcripts. Yeah, I mean, there's some time lag in between that, but I can imagine that could maybe be improved on over time. Who knows? But wow, yeah, guys, this has been awesome. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So the time lag depends on how many people are on decoding at a time. So each server, if I remember the numbers, we can simultaneously transcribe. Is it 7 at once, Casey? 7 streams per server?
Yeah.
Something like that. Right. So So the way that we've got it set up is there's queues that you can enter, right? So the people that are paying the most get to go to the front of the line. People that are on the free version, they can still enter the queue, but they have to push a button and manually push themselves into it. The other servers, they get sucked in automatically. So that's the way we're managing it. Once we get enough people on that, one server isn't enough, we've got to expand to 2 and then 4 and just keep going up from there.
Scaling gets wild. You have to have the right subscription.
Scaling.
This is going to be interesting. This is a fun little project you guys have made here, I gotta say.
Good.
I really like it.
Good news is we've got a good team.
Oh yeah, it sounds like you guys got a great team. There was a question on CW.
Yeah.
So I don't think you confirmed it will do CW decoding, but is that's something
We've
on
just
the horizon?
Started.
Just started. Yeah.
It's still on the development server. It's not going to be on the production server anytime soon. We've just begun, but you get people who have all sorts of different sending styles. You get fading and all this other stuff. We can totally do it. It's just go ahead, Casey.
I just wanted to say that we have working code which is
Casey's
able to decode CW.
On hold on, is Casey? You seem to be having a seizure on Zoom. Okay, no, you're good. You're back. Glad you didn't bite your tongue off with that seizure. That was amazing. Okay, you're good.
Okay. So as of today, we are able to decode CW when it is fixed bit rate. And when it is variable bit rate, like some person sending, we still have not got the accuracy, but it's software. We know that someday we'll figure it out, but the constant bit rate, as of today, we are able to decode it, just fine tuning it, and eventually it'll be part of our product.
Yeah, it should be mentioned when you're talking about AI and voice transcription, that's based off of all of us that speak languages and words. When it comes to a language, CW Morse code is not highly adopted, not highly used. There's probably not a whole lot of AI that you can tap into to help you decode that. So if you give it garbage in with crazy bit rate or a crazy fist that isn't very consistent in letter and number and spacing, not to mention background noise and all that other stuff that we can throw into a radio, then that's probably a difficult challenge. I could see that. Yeah.
Somebody asked, what about a tier for people with hearing disabilities? Once we can afford it, absolutely. Absolutely. We'd rather make our money off businesses and corporations than people. So once we can, we will. Somebody said, can we do a Morse code large language model training? Absolutely. We just need time. That takes time and server costs. One of the things we've noticed too is that police dispatchers sometimes talk like this, very bumble, and
they use Morse code too, right? That's
they're if we retrained, if we tune the models, we can get better performance. Again, it just takes time.
You got to have a $99 dispatcher tier, I think, for
God, some of them
it's
are
really bad. Mine is bad. Our local one is really bad to copy. I don't know how the police go anywhere that they're supposed to get to with some of these dispatchers.
I asked that question to police officers because I wanted to know the same thing. Yeah. And one of them told me, it's like, we don't know what they say either. We just wait until they call us.
Yeah, I was wondering, it's like, so my curiosity is like, do they have just like the most amazing radio that just doesn't exist in the world in their cars that I don't have? Because I get it and it's like, I hear the beep, 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 and then it's, and like, what? Okay, where are we going? Shots fired. And I'm like, well, that sounds important.
Yeah. All right. Let's draw a winner, Josh.
Let's do it. Let's roll that winner. Here we go. Jerry Bodie, you are the winner. Let me find him. Let's see if we can find him in there. At Jerry. Uh-oh.
Yay.
He might not be in the chat.
He might have wandered away.
Here?
So Jerry Bodie, Josh, I assume, is going to have your mailing address?
No, so what we generally do is one of two things. One, he gives me his call sign.
Okay, that'd work.
Easy. Or he contacts me on Discord. So I'm going to wait here a second. Let's see if Jerry replies. Otherwise, I think it's fair that we re-roll this to somebody that we knows here and you know, can be a part of this. So, Jerry, we'll wait a couple of minutes. I hope you're not offended, but this is a live giveaway. We want to give it to somebody that's you know, right and available.
Yeah.
Oh, Jerry Bodie, I am here. N8OWV. There you go.
Okay, so Josh is going to pass that on to me. And
well, you can. I mean, you can QRZM.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, there's the call sign on the thing. Oh, no, I just missed the call.
N8OWV.
I need a pen. Okay, so N8OWV.
I'll send it to you too. Yeah.
It's going to be a couple months, but we'll send you out a Boondock, a connecting cable, and we'll find a way to give you an account for 3 months for free. It'll be fun.
I love it. I'm just writing all this down so I don't forget, you know, because that's how my brain works.
If you guys have questions, I'll be in the after chat. Casey and Jesse, are you guys coming? I know it's late for you.
I might be able to. We'll see.
Okay.
You guys hang out then. I'm going to wrap up the live stream, and if you need any Discord help, I can help you at that time. But yeah, the link is in the video description, so you guys can find that easily. And everybody watching, you're all welcome to join us on the after chat. If you have Boondock questions that we didn't get to because we literally just flooded the chat with Boondock and all the questions went bye-bye as YouTube does. But yeah, guys, amazing chat. I'm so glad that we were able to get you on to kind of fill in some of those details. Because again, I was thinking myopically, you know, through my little soda straw of needs, and that's often how hams think. We get so laser focused on something. But the reality is, I mean, just given the examples you guys gave and what you've heard, and now the roadmap of upgrades, I think you've got really a multi-use platform that could work for repeater owners, scanner enthusiasts, net enthusiasts, net participants, people who enjoy perusing Target, you know, and don't want to get gassed. All very important things. There's a million things you can do with this that when you add it to a radio really makes a lot of sense. So any last words you want to mention here? Anything we didn't cover? This is the time. Go for it.
Jess, you've been we've talked over you today. Do you have anything?
Jess is my new best friend. Strong engineering practices.
Yeah.
I like everything this man's talked about. Go ahead.
I was in automotive for 10 years, so yeah, I'm very risk averse and by process.
Yeah,
I don't have anything extra to say. Just thanks a lot, Josh, for this opportunity. It's first time on this, so it's been good hanging out.
Excellent.
And you'll be at Hamvention.
I'll see you there, buddy. Yeah. If Casey and Jesse are both there, I may need your help.
We're gonna carpool
specifically at that location for something I want to put together.
Yeah, I think I just have one last quick one. Thank you for having us, Josh. And as programmers, we I enjoy building technology and just try to make something work. But I think what is important to Mark and I is we met on a chat discussing about how can we make ham radio interesting so younger people would actually get into the hobby. That's the first time I met Josh. It was a chat on Hackaday. So I see that if we enhance the technology to a point, as Josh, you were talking about, like stickiness of the information and what we can do with technology, cell phones, internet, and all that, maybe there are a lot of opportunities for younger generation to like ham radio for so many cool new ways they can use.
Yeah, and undoubtedly there's ways they can use. Mark, do you have anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I do, but it's not about Boondock Echo. It's something that I mentioned in the after chat a couple weeks ago. And that is that, Josh, you have built an amazing community of hams here. You've brought a lot of people together. You've done more to expand the hobby than anybody else I can think of. And I wanted to thank you for that and letting us join you for a small part of that journey. So thank you.
Jeez, Mark, you're already on the show. You don't have to say you're already here, man. You don't have to... No, I just love I love talking about things like this that are people pushing the boundaries, and you guys really are. And so I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And Everybody in the chat, I mean, you can hear it from the people in the chat. There's just so many people that are like in their head right now thinking of ideas. Oh, I could do this and I could do that. And that's what hams are really good at, is figuring out how we can take technology in the way it exists and adapt it and mold it and slap other technology on the side of it, like if this, then that, and get all kinds of really cool features out of it. So, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking with you today, and yeah, I hope that I will be hearing new and interesting things from you all. So, 73 to you all. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, 73s, everyone.
All right, well, hang tight.
73.
I'll be back with you in a second. I'm going to wrap things up over here. So, everybody, thanks for coming out. We really do appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, links are all in the description. Everything to their GitHub. Again, open source, both the client, the device, and the server side, as well as where you can get one of these if you are so interested in doing so. And just think of, this is supporting a group that has actually produced something. It has been in multiple revisions. The revision 3 is coming out, and that's adding a whole bunch of cool features just from the physical aspect of interfacing it with the radio. So I just love the concept and the idea. And it's already helped my wife out, which helps me out by proxy. So we love that. I'm going to say a big shout out, though, to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting what I do out here on the YouTubes and the community at large. And here's my son. He's going to say hi. Obviously, we missed out. Here, get your...
Stop.
He tested for his brown belt in Kung Fu today, and he did a fantastic job. I got to watch him do that. It was very impressive, Ben.
Woohoo!
We missed. Okay, let me finish. Okay, you stand over here. Stand over here. So we all he wants from me is to unlock the iPad. That's all he really wants. So hold this for a second. Patrons, Patron Picks episode, which is normally the first weekend of the month. Obviously, we had Randy on, and then we had this Boondock video scheduled. I'll be in Visalia next week, so Patron Picks episode will be at the end of the month, which will be followed by another Patron Picks episode. So it's a 2 for Patron Picks wild schedule that we have coming up, and I really do thank y'all. We'll be talking about the right coax to use on your ham radio journey. So that's a really interesting concept, because I think to myself, boy, is anybody actually going to turn in for that? But coax is one of the most fundamentally important parts of our ham radio station. So if you don't know enough about it and you think you should learn more, then perhaps join us on that after chat. But yeah, 1,000 thank you to everybody who supports what we do out here. And literally, he's just poking me with an iPad now. So I'm going to take some of this moment to just do the thing, I guess. I'm not mommy, so this is not going to work. No, I guess. Oh. I don't think I don't know the password. Mommy changed it. That's what happens when your kids do bad things with iPads, or the things that they shouldn't do. Yeah, okay. All right, take it off. Take off. Guys, I had a fantastic time. Really do appreciate the guests being on. We're going to head off to the after chat. Link is in the description to the Discord. Join the Discord. It takes a couple of minutes to get onto voice chat. Don't worry, because we get bots stormed occasionally. Go through the process, set all the things up you need to do. Make sure you have a mic and speaker set up and the PTT button binded to something like Control or on your phone or whatever. We take your questions live. It's called Hams Helping Hams. Our goal is to have you walk away with your questions answered. That's our goal, but at least point you in the right direction so you know how to find the next step. So thanks so much for watching. I will play the memes for you. 73.